Good day, councillors. May we all rise for the Speaker of Council, Councillor Margaret Arnolds.
Councillors, can we please settle? Can we remain standing so that we observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation? I thank you. Councillors, can we ensure that our cell phones are off, silent or vibration? Not completely off, Councillor Belinda, but on silent or vibration. Councillor Masetla, we haven't even started, but let's hear.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for affording me an opportunity. Even before we start, Speaker, because we don't want the train to leave us behind, I just wanted to inform you and request that the EFF is requesting 10 minutes caucus break. Thank you. Ainyakele namkhaya.
Councillor Masetla, we first start and then we'll have the 10 minutes break. You'll then ask for it. But we first start. We haven't started as yet.
Good afternoon, councillors. It is hereby notified that the 42nd Extraordinary Council meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality will be held on Wednesday on the 30th of July at 12 and on Thursday, the 31st of July 2025 at 10 a.m. at the Constance Konibapela Council Chamber in Braamfontein. And the first item on the agenda is opening.
Thank you so much, councillors. Greetings to the Executive Mayor in absentia, Councillor Sello Morera, the Whip of Council, Councillor Zungu, Chair of Chairs, Councillor Marema, all political party leaders and whips, members of the Mayoral Committee, chairpersons of Section 79 committees, fellow councillors, the Acting City Manager, Mr. Kiba Kekana, in absentia, Secretary to... Oh, he's arrived. Sorry, CM, I can't see you. I know that he asked to be somewhere, so that's why. To the Secretary to Council, Mr. Andile Kobinga, officials of the City of Johannesburg, residents of the City of Johannesburg, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this 42nd Extraordinary Council meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality. Councillors, please note, the Executive have requested that the following two items be added to the agenda as urgency reports, and I've acceded to the request. It will be the Pick It Up Trading Service Reform Strategy, acceptance of the HIV/AIDS conditional grant from the Gauteng Department of Health to implement the HIV and AIDS door-to-door HIV education program, and the AIDS Council coordination for the 2025-2026 financial year. The two items will only be considered by by council tomorrow. At this point, I will ask legal to just check whether we have quorum and that we have all signed the register for this meeting before we verify the number of councillors present so as to confirm the quorum. Legal. And we will be seated unless you have not signed the register, and then we will accede to the 10 minutes for the EFF. Yes, Councillor Maile?
Thanks very much, Madam Speaker. Greetings and salutations to my colleagues. I thought I should just make a request that as quorum is considered and as we take the requested caucus break, the office of the Speaker look at page 9 of the agenda and remove the name of Councillor Brenda Dami from the agenda, just out of respect. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Councillor Santana, you acknowledged?
Thank you, Speaker. Just on the speakers list, please note page 6 is missing, if we can get that. Thank you. And page 4. Thank you.
Okay, so page 4 and page 6 is missing from the agenda, and then we will remove the name of Councillor Dami on page 9. Thank you. Can legal... Okay, they've gone to check. The 10 minutes for the EFF is granted. 20 past 12, we'll be back. Councillor Bidkow.
Just a correction, that page 4 and 6 is from the speakers list, not the agenda.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thanks. Councillors, can we settle down? We are running late. Can we please settle down? Councillor MMC Makafula? Chair of Ethics? Colleagues, we started late and we are late, and yeah, let's just be in time for everything. Before we broke for the 10 minutes of the that the EFF asked for, we said we are going to check quorum. We are 220 councillors, so we do correct and we are fine to go. EFF, are you good? Councillor Mosetla?
Yeah, we are good. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, can we switch off our mics or allow our mics to stand up because we're having difficulty with the mics? Councillor Avante Smith.
Thank you, Speaker. I request that the whips can just get together for 5 minutes briefly in order to facilitate this sitting, if possible, please.
Okay, whoops, are we fine? Can we have 5 minutes and let it be 5 minutes, not 6 minutes? At 12:30, you back? Please, 5 minutes. Come, whoops, if you move faster, we'll be quick finish. We settle. I believe the whips are back, and the whips will tell us, Councillor Avance Smith will tell us what the whips has. Are they fine, or is there anything they want us to know? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have come to the agreement which we've discussed with you, and if we just proceed in that manner, that'll work. Thank you.
Councillor Smith, can you please put it on record so that we know what you are saying that you've discussed?
So we're going to read in all the quarterlies together in blocks. So we will read in a block and then respond on the block, just to cut down on time. We are also, the executive will withdraw a few items, and then items 58 to 68 will just be read in for noting. Those are the feet on the ground oversight reports. Thank you.
Chair of Chairs, the executive reports, have you discussed it with the executive? So that the executive, we can't just withdraw the reports without them saying yes or no. So have you spoken to the leader of executive business?
Speaker, thank you very much. I had thought that you will speak to member in charge, who is Councillor Mhlongo, but I just heard him talking to MMC Mnisi, who is currently, I see, having a conversation to the leader of executive business with that regard. So I am hoping that the executive will do the honors. As you can see, they are up and down trying to do as I am suggesting. Thank you.
Yeah, we just want the right thing to be done, so that we don't find ourselves wanting. Councillor Smith, you didn't tell us about the legislature item? Or the Chair of Chairs will give us the legislature item while the executive is in discussion?
No, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I had an opportunity or a luxury to attend the whips meeting or caucus meeting, and I did submit what I have been sent by the MPEC brigades, that we withdraw item 70, and the committee is in agreement with that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. It's just that we want it all for record. We'll await the executive to tell us, are they fine with what you have asked? We don't want to tramp on toes.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, and all councillors. Madam Speaker, for the record, please note that item 35 to 44, however, I think we're doing things the other way around. We shouldn't, because the Mayor has not sent recommendations to Council, actually.
Thank you, MMC. Can we go to application of the...
Okay, councillors, we are now on application for leave of absence.
Can we get leave of absence from the floor? We only have one leave of absence, MMC Squale, due to ill health. Can I see hands? Councillor Avance Smith, Councillor Simon Say, and Councillor Makuba, and Councillor Bosula. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have Councillor Nkomo on study leave, Councillor Dews, private business, Councillor Depe on private business, and Councillor Hughes, ill health, and a request from Councillor Degama to leave at 2 p.m., please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Simonse.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just an apology for Councillor Marilyn Smo. She had to leave on council business. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Makuba.
Thank you, Speaker. For the IFP, Councillor Kanyile, it's out of the province. And there's a request for Councillor Nkomo and Councillor Nyembe to leave at 4:30.
Thank you. Councillor Pasula.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Greetings to you. We have got Councillor Siyabonga Swane, who is on private business, Councillor Nicole Johnson, private business, and I have got 3 councillors who are requesting to leave at 3 o'clock, and that is Councillor Chris Mohlala, Councillor Muiponi Rakosa, and Councillor Tulinkomo. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chair of Chairs.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to table an apology of our beloved mayor, who is going to leave after tabling the recommendation of the executive. He's got to go and address the legal and contracts. I also have an apology from the Chief Whip, Councillor Zungu, who is going to join us in an hour, and the mayor will come back just after the addressing that matter. And I also have an apology from Councillor Charmaine Mwepe, who is writing examination. I also have an apology from Councillor Godfrey Tsetlo, who is sick and would not be able to attend council. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Councillor Marema. Councillor Tuako, MMC Tuako.
Well, thank you very much, Speaker. Good afternoon to everyone. I write to table the following apologies. Councillor Ngwenya on ill health, Councillor Nkosi on ill health, Councillor Mohapi will be arriving a bit late on private business, and also Councillor Telekowa will also be arriving late, and also myself, I will have to leave at about 2 o'clock, but I'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MMC Tuako. Are the apologies noted? Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Makome. Can you use the mic next to yourself?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I make a request to be recused by 17:30.
Thank you, Councillor Makome. Are all the apologies noted? MMC Tuako?
No, thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot one apology from Councillor Mabala Tandiwe. She had to attend a critical matter in her ward, but she'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. All apologies are noted.
We now proceed to recommendations to Council.
Executive Mayor, Councillor Morero.
Madam Speaker, good morning. Good morning to the Chief Whip of Council in absentia, Chair of Chairs, and of course greetings to all political parties and their leaders. I hereby stand to table reports for Council for consideration. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Chair of Chairs.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to table the legislature reports. with the request, of course, to withdraw item 70. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. MMC Masuku.
Morning, Executive Mayor, Madam Speaker, Chief Whip and all councillors. Madam Speaker, we would like on behalf of the Executive to withdraw item 34. Withdraw item 34. We would also like to withdraw item 40. Withdraw item 42. We would also like that item 35 to item 44 all be read together as clubbed items.
Thank you, MMC Masuku. Have we noted? Yes. Have we noted all that? Yes.
My apologies, Madam
Yes,
Speaker. Can I please ask for the MMC's indulgence to please just repeat the numbers again? Sorry.
Okay. MMC?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are requesting to withdraw item 34. We are requesting to withdraw item 40. We are requesting to withdraw item 42. And then club item 35 to 44. Thanks.
Thank you, Eliobi.
On recommendations to council, we're starting off with the first item, and that is the performance assessment report for the Corporate and Shared Services Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period October to December 2024, read with item 2, which is an oversight report of the Section 79 Corporate and Shared Services Committee on the 2024-25 second quarter budget and performance assessment report of Group Corporate and Shared Services for the period October to December 2024, also read with item 3, and that's a performance assessment report for the Corporate and Shared Services Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. And the above items are read together with item 4, which is an oversight report of the Section 79 Corporate and Shared Services Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter budget and performance assessment report of Group Corporate and Shared Services for the period January to March 2025.
Thank you. Member in charge, Councillor Rapadu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to table the third quarter oversight report of the Section 79 Corporate and Shared Services Committee on the third quarter performance report of the Group Corporate and Shared Services. Madam Speaker, all KPIs were achieved in the third quarter with the exception of 2 annual KPIs. Madam Speaker, on organizational stability, strides have been made on the institutional review project as a service provider for implementation was appointed. On employee relations, no senior managers were placed on suspension since the beginning of the financial year. This has resulted in a 100% decrease in the salary bill of suspended officials. The Group Corporate and Shared Services has also done well, Madam Speaker, in reducing the vacancy rate at top management positions, as it has come down to 17% in the third quarter from the 22.9% in the second quarter. We expect the filling of top management positions to bring about greater accountability as well as improve service delivery. Madam Speaker, in terms of health and safety, Madam Speaker, 138 facilities across the city were inspected in the third quarter. System compliance was 53%, while physical compliance was 32%. The highest deviations were for buildings with loose ceilings and roof leaks, and non-establishment of SHE committees, as well as non-training of SHE representatives and unsafe electrical connections. Madam Speaker, whereas JPC can be blamed for the non-maintenance of our buildings, departments must also take responsibility for not doing their part in terms of establishing SHE committees within their respective departments. The state of performance management in the city is also a great concern for this committee. Madam Speaker, 30% of our departments are not participating, and the employees in these departments do not have scorecards. Similarly to health and safety, these are KPIs on the scorecards of senior managers. These committees could like to see consequence management meted on all non-complying heads of departments, because performance management is the bedrock of a well-functioning organization. Madam Speaker, on skills development, there was an 87% implementation of skills audit interventions on levels 5 and 6 employees. This indicates that all employees at this level will be covered by the end of the financial year. On the fleet services, Madam Speaker, I would like to focus on the Red Fleet contract. The budget was reduced at the mid-year budget review to 28 million from the initial budget of 100 million. A recent oversight visit to fire stations in May 2025 exposed this committee to the major challenges, which is the wide gap between fleet availability and demand, as well as the inability to replace end-of-life vehicles due to budget constraints. On employee assistance, Madam Speaker, I would like to place an emphasis on trauma counseling, particularly for EMS personnel. The committee has recommended to public safety to establish their own specialized capacity for employee assistance services, so that it does not rely on the city's small capacity of 5 EAP specialists and a chaplain. Madam Speaker, I would like to highlight very quickly the electronic document management system, which is heavily dependent on the GICT. Concerns on this performance area has increased since our joint oversight of the Metro Center with Section 79 OCO, Public Safety and Economic Development Committees in November 2024.
2 seconds left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to recommend that Council note the report, but we also proceed, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Member in Charge. ACDP, Councillor Mkonza.
Yes, thank you very much, Speaker, and shalom, shalom to all the councillors. But before I start, allow me to first acknowledge our Almighty God, eternally existent in 3 persons, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And greetings to the ACDP constituents, the residents of our beloved city, Johannesburg. I greet you all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. So, Madam Speaker, I stand to speak on item 1 for the financial year period January to March 2025. First, allow me to quote from my guiding manual, the Holy Bible, from Proverbs 12, verse 24, which reads as follows: "The diligent find freedom in their work, and the lazy are oppressed by the work." Madam Speaker, the ACDP caucus commends the department for the placement of 2 disability learners in conjunction with the KLM empowerment, which will provide them with a significant work experience for COJ, and at the same time boosting the city's disability representation. We further commend the department for the EAP program. We, however, raise the low closing rate of cases, which is 13.5%, and the high number of personal and social profiles suggesting that more needs to be done. Madam Speaker, we bring to your attention once again the copy and paste syndrome of COJ. Under discussion, page 3.2, the report says 9 KPIs. However, in bracket, it says 3 remained unconfirmed for full performance attainment. This is Q3 report, and 9 or 3 KPIs are not confirmed. Then how then do we desire to reclaim the status of a world-class African city if we cannot confirm KPIs on the third quarter? The question now comes, which SDB is used to assess performance? We further read that the department anticipates that these reports will be tabled at the next EMT meeting before the final version is presented to the governance sub-mayoral cluster meeting. Somewhere in the report, we are told 14 KPIs were achieved and 0 unachieved. What happened to the 9 or 3 unconfirmed? Here are some questions to the MMC. She may wish to answer. Why is the capital spending sitting at 0% when we have a risk management matrix that speaks to poor maintenance of the buildings? When will the records of management policy and files
Councillor,
be
can you just
completed?
hold on? And you only have 5 seconds left.
Okay.
Councillor Caldin.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm of the view that WOPS went for a meeting to discuss that we are noting the reports. And then secondly, the councillor that's on the floor, does he sit on this committee? Because I see there's a tendency in this house that councillors who don't sit on committees come here to this house and complain. Thank you, Speaker.
Councillor Caldin. Councillor Caldin. Councillor Caldin. Councillor Caldin. Councillor, can you continue?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we need induction, Speaker. What is the MMC and the department practically and actively doing to deal with the inconsistent application of the PMS processes and procedures outside of the newsletters? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor from the IFP, Councillor Manganya.
Madam Speaker, members of council, on behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I rise to reflect on the third quarter's performance and oversight report of the group, corporate and shared services. Speaker, our duty is not just to note progress, but to interrogate outcomes against the mandate of the ethical, responsible leadership. Having said that, Speaker, the IFP command the GCSS for key achievements which align with our shared GLU vision of restoring professional service delivery. Firstly, Speaker, we applaud the permanent appointment of senior managers now sitting at 80.8%. Stability at the top is a step forward in restoring accountability at all levels. Second to that, Speaker, the absence of senior staff suspensions and 100% compliance with disciplinary timelines reflect a maturing culture of consequence management. Lastly, Speaker, regarding the equity and skills development, the department's attention to employment equity and the placements of 2 disabled learners at the City Power signal a commitment to transformation, not a rhetoric, but in action. However, Speaker, as the IFP, a party that has always stood for honest governance, we cannot ignore the red flags highlighted in this quarter's oversight review. The Ivory Park Fire Station is a crisis waiting to happen. The report cites operational risk that should never exist in a professional emergency service. This is not just an administrative oversight, it is a betrayal of public trust. The 32% physical compliance rates across facilities is unacceptable. It reflects systemic negligence that undermines workers' safety and exposes the city to legal and reputational risk. Madam Speaker, as the AFP, we note with serious concern the 72 million cut to the Red Fleet budget. Without a proper emergency services, our firefighters are left with rusting scraps and our communities face delays in emergency response. This is not a budgeting error, it is a life-threatening oversight. Madam Speaker, we're failing our frontline heroes with just 5 trauma specialists for the entire EMS. The IFP support the call for public safety to build dedicated in-house trauma capacity. It is deeply concerning that 30% of departments still operate without performance scorecards. How do we hold officials accountable if we don't measure their performance? The IFP calls for ethical action. As a responsible GLU partner, the
14
IFP
seconds
calls for
left.
the urgent intervention in fire and emergency services, including trauma support and urgent fleet procurement. Ndodiwa Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Councillor D. Francisco from the ANC.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I would like to greet in absentia our Mayor, Mayor Dada Morero, also to greet the City Manager, Gobenga. I would also like to greet our Chair of Chairs, Councillor Marema. Also greet the Whip of Council in his absentia, not forgetting the mayoral committee of the mayor. I would also like to greet all the councillors sitting here in council and extend my greetings to the resident of City of Johannesburg. I nearly said Alexander. Thank you very much, Speaker. I rise to table item 1, the performance report for the corporate and shared services department for the year of 2024 and 2025 financial year. This the period of October and December. Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker, again. Speaker, on behalf of the African National Congress, we are happy to present this report, but not forgetting the committee that we work with. I think we work very smart. We were able to achieve the KPI, which is 92.6. I'm not going to dwell much, but I would like also to note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Deborah. Councillor Campbell Clutie from the DA.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Honourable Speaker, members of the Council, fellow residents of Johannesburg, I rise to respond to the Group Corporate Shared Services Performance Report for quarters 2 and 3 of the financial year. Speaker, the language in the report is very clinical. It shows figures, and especially that this portfolio has indeed fulfilled their KPIs on paper. Well done to GCSS for this statistical performance. The reality this report reveals, however, is that an accomplishment is not an accomplishment or applause worthy. It is deeply human and deeply troubling, especially where it affects the employees of the city. Let's look at the facts. 96 municipal buildings investigated or inspected during this time are reported as poorly maintained. 75 buildings have unsafe electrical installations. Now imagine one of those buildings catching on fire, especially with the condition of our red fleet. Unfortunately, the scenario will be devastating. I want you to imagine yourself just for a few seconds as being an employee in one of these buildings. 47 buildings lack firefighting equipment. Failure. 41 have obstructed emergency exits. Complete failure. 99 buildings do not have trained SHE officials, so there's no one that can help you. And 68 have no evacuation procedures at all, and you do not know where to go. Massive failure. Keep in mind, while you look for an escape, that we do not have enough Red Fleet vehicles. And those we do have are old and not in optimum condition. And all under the current ANC, EFF, PA, and Action SA coalition. How do you feel now? Do you feel like the 749 employees who sought therapeutic intervention in the third quarter alone? That is not statistic. That is a desperate cry for help. Our employees are working in unsafe, crumbling environments. They are carrying the emotional and psychological toll of that neglect. They are forced to work in buildings and in a system that fails to protect them, a system that does not value them, and a municipality that fails to act. So do we not have the budget to change this then? The answer is yes, we do. But in the third quarter, only 54.55% of the operational budget was spent. We are not only failing to meet our obligations, we are not even using the tools we have to fix them. Speaker, no doubt we will once again hear excuses, deflection, and reports filled with KPIs that focus on monitoring and reporting, but never on actually fixing the problem. Speaker, we need to answer this. What good is a report if it becomes a ritual of documenting failure instead of a roadmap for action? Even the KPI, and I need for you to listen to this, even the KPI for paying creditors within 30 days has quietly disappeared like a sushi platter, without explanation and without concern. While we preach from podiums on how we will improve economic growth, the very standard that protects small businesses and service providers from collapse is quietly being removed from the KPI list. And perhaps most offensively, some issues raised by this very portfolio committee have remained unanswered for almost 2 years. But we are doing so very well. Speaker, what we are witnessing is not just administrative systems that reward nonsensical KPIs. It is a dangerous culture of no accountability, no urgency, and no consequence management. This culture is a direct result of the unstable and failing government of local unity. Now let's contrast this with how the Democratic Alliance governs, shall we? In Midvaal, there are systems of transparency, performance, and discipline, a model of excellence. Budgets are spent where they matter. Safety standards are enforced. Buildings are audited and maintained. Creditor payments are made on time. And public servants know that non-performance is not tolerated but dealt with. There is political will and consequence management, as well as measurable and impactful KPIs. These are three things that are currently desperately missing in Johannesburg, while it's being run into the ground by the current GLU. While residents are told that 100% of KPIs are magically met. Speaker, we can no longer afford to produce documents that monitors and reports on the rot and the failure. We need to confront it head on. We dare not continue to applaud departments for compiling quarterly reports while the very people they serve suffer in silence and stress. Let this report serve as a warning, and let our employees and residents hear this. The DA has the courage, the experience, and the track record to demand and deliver. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The PA Councillor May.
Greetings, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor in his absentia, the PA caucus, and esteemed guests. I rise to speak on item 1 to 4. In recent years, we have seen an increase in the need for collaborating among different organizations and departments in order to provide better services for our community. It is crucial that we work together to achieve these common goals and address challenges that our city faces. One area where group cooperation and shared services can make a significant impact is in health and safety. As we all know, the health and well-being of our residents should be on top priority for all of us. By pooling our resources and expertise, we can develop and implement effective strategies to improve public health and safety in our city. This includes initiatives such as providing better services and access to healthcare services, by promoting lifestyle choices and implementing measures to prevent accidents and injuries. Another important aspect where group cooperation and shared services can develop is within skills development. In today's rapidly changing world, it is essential that our workforce is equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to succeed. By working together, we can offer training and education programs that will help our employees adapt to new technologies and the industry trends. This will not only benefit our organization, but also contribute to the overall growth and prosperity of our city. Lastly, I would like to draw your attention to the deteriorating state of our rail fleet in Johannesburg. Our fleet of emergency vehicles play a crucial and pivotal role in ensuring the safety and well-being of our residents. However, many of these vehicles are in urgent need of repairs and in maintenance. By coming together and sharing these resources, we can address these issues and ensure that our emergency services are operating at full capacity. In conclusion, it is essential for the success and sustainability of our city. By working together, we can achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness and impact in our efforts to improve this quality of life for all Johannesburg residents. Let us commit to collaborating and supporting each other in our endeavors to build a better, brighter future for our city. Thank you. With this being said, the Patriotic Alliance notes this report. Salute.
Thank you, Councillor May. EFF Councillor D. Dladla.
Speaker, there is a previous speaker here who just invited us to contrast and compare the municipalities as run by the DA and of the GLU. Now I'm tempted to compare, Speaker. I was checking the mayor of Johannesburg. Yes, we still have the mayor. And I'm checking the former mayor of Tshwane. No, Cllr Brink was removed. And I was checking, contrasting, Speaker, to check as to the reason why the mayor of Tshwane was removed. In fact, the mayor of DA in Tshwane was removed. The fact is that he was removed because he failed to give water to our people.
Councillors, we have a councillor on the podium. Continue, Councillor Dladla.
Just a second, Speaker. It won't. No, thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to you, the caucus leader of the EFF, Dr. Tswaku, our Chief Whip, Tabisa Mohab in absentia, our hard-working MMC and Makafula, 29 EFF councillors, and you councillors at large, I greet you. We wish to take this opportunity and congratulate the EFF for a successful 12th-year anniversary celebration over the weekend. When we started in 2013, some were saying if it fell, but we are still here and growing. We bought our head office when all other parties in South Africa, not only in Johannesburg, are renting shacks. You can only buy such a beautiful building when you know and you are sure that you will be here for long. We remain the best run organization so far in the country. We remain indebted to our organization as councillors of the EFF. Speaker, I'm standing to speak on item 1, 2, 3, and 4. We must say beforehand that the EFF notes and approved this report. We are sure the hard-working MMC of Public Safety have noted the contributions regarding the in-house trauma counseling as proposed here in council today. We're also hoping the under-allocation on Red Fleet will soon be attended to. We note the reduction and resolution of employee. In fact, it points to the fact that the GLU iaqhubha. Kukhonkothwa kuphela ehambayo. We are sure that we also hope that the under-allocation on Red Fleet will soon be attended to. We hope that the reduction and resolution of employee suspension by 100%, which by extension means that there is less to no money that is paid for suspended people sitting at home and doing nothing. We applaud that work. The volume of pending disciplinary cases is a bit concerning, but on the same, we acknowledge that it will be wrong to cut corners and circumvent the requirements of the LRA on disciplinary processes for the sake of stats. Though we are encouraged by the improvement on the vacancy rate in top management position, we are also of the belief that more can still be done. We noted as well that the vacancy rate citywide has increased in the quarter in question, which is not good considering the unemployment rate which we are faced in the city. But we can still see the light at the end of the channel. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Dada. Councillor Mofokeng from the ANC.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I sit in this committee and I make good contributions. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this. Speaker, I've been a councillor since 2016 and sitting in the same committee. And I've served under 3 MMCs, namely MMC Kumalo and MMC North. And all of them never achieved 100% on their KPIs. Never. Now we need to give credit where it's due. And let's also tell you why we are at 100%. It's precisely because we are working very close with our officials. We never page the officials. We are here because of the good relationship that we have with our officials. Now, people cannot say the GLU is falling. We're not falling. And surprisingly, people that are sitting in this committee, like the chairperson was saying, are not talking in this meeting. Because they understood us when we were debating in the committee. They understood. And once again, I want to say thank you, MMC Masuku and Chairperson Rapadu, to give leadership. But umona uqala esweni. The DA never achieves this. Never achieved this. And you'll never achieve it. Now, it's as Councillor Rapadu indicated very clear that it's not us who are servicing those buildings, but it's another department. But we took it upon ourselves as a committee to go there and do the inspection. We went there. It's us who are raising these things, that we need to correct this thing. And we went there because we have the interest of workers at heart. And the DA cannot tell us today that you have the interest of workers at heart. Never. Not today, not ever. Now, Kuba, MMC, nothing's going to stop you. In our meeting, in our committee meeting, the DA, instead of saying thanks to MMC, they were saying, how did you reach 100%? How did you reach 100%? That's what they were saying in the meeting. And I'm happy today they're not talking because they know the truth. Now, Councillor Mkonza, you made a point, and I want to agree with you, that the city of Johannesburg needs to do induction. Because the way in which you are reading reports and the way the DA reads the report leaves much to be desired. I must point out now that you can't read the report. And because we have the interest of the communities at heart, we read the report as the ANC. We definitely read the report. You don't come here and then crack jokes. We are here to read the report, and we are serving our communities. And we will forever do that. Now, as the African National Congress, we note the report. Thank you.
MMC Masuku.
Good morning good afternoon now, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, thank you so much to all the councillors for their contribution. Let me address through you, Speaker, and forgive Councillor Campbell Clutie. Perhaps she's new in the committee, and so she would be inclined to speak things that are economic from the truth. She says, through you, Speaker, that statistical performance is not important. It's actually very important. She also speaks about the performance of the Democratic Alliance in other municipalities, whereas the same Democratic Alliance performed dismally in this municipality. We were not going to go there, but she has taken us there. So let us take her back and remind her that under Mayor Palazzi and MMCs of the Democratic Alliance, the performance at Q3 for GCSS was at 54%. The following quarter, it was at 56%. It moved and dropped to 49%. The government of local unity took power in 2023, and we vowed to stabilize group corporate and shared services. At our first stint in the department, together with the officials and the Section 79 committee, where Councillor Ran also forms part of, we steered the ship and we moved to 67%. Gradually, we moved in Q2 to 79%. We accelerated, Madam Speaker, and we moved to 88%. We are at 92% and steadily at 100% when we get to Q4 because of the hard work of officials who we did not purge. We said we will work with everyone, we will give everybody a chance. And even in the Section 79 committee, when we are held and we are called, we account because we respect the committee. I'm saying I will forgive her that she's new because she doesn't understand where this department comes from. She doesn't understand the hard sweat and the work officials have put in to try and stabilize this department. So statistics matter. Statistics matter because it is the figures that will tell you that we're at above 80% in terms of stabilizing senior management of this municipality. Now, if you are not concerned about that, yes, we admit, Madam Speaker, there are weaknesses. We have to do better in terms of contract management and fleet. We have to do better in terms of health and safety. But we have improved in areas where there was no interest. In fact, the issue of performance management and scorecards, it's our baby as the government of local unity. We took it upon ourselves to make sure that performance management in the city of Johannesburg is a priority. So it can't be correct for councillors to come and not even acknowledge where the city comes from at a group level and how far we have come in stabilizing. None of them are talking about the strides we have made in terms of improving skills development for internal youth and even our employees. Increasing funds for bursaries for our young people. None of them are talking about the stability as it relates to the work that we've done on skills. And I think there must come a point through you, Speaker, that councillors, when they want to contrast and want to put it as if we're not doing any work, they must ask themselves, does it benefit the institution? And I dare say no. Actually, residents look at you and think that all you do is to naysay and be negative. Learn to be positive. Learn to acknowledge good work when it is done. Learn to appreciate that there are people who can improve institutional capability. There are people who understand performance management and are interested to take the city forward. Learn to appreciate it, and perhaps in the long run, you can take some of these things and practice them in other institutions. Because it doesn't mean that the government of local unity is perfect in everything, but we keep trying because our interest is to improve the lives of our people. Thank you, Councillor Mkonza. We appreciate your comments, and you are correct. If I had more time, but what I will do, I will write a note on my official City of Joburg page as a response to some of these discussions, so that we can correct some of the misinformation that is made by councillors in this council. It's important that we understand that group, corporate and shared services is about the lives of our people and our employees. It's at the heartbeat of service delivery, because if employees are not taken care of, it means then the most important resource is at the downward. Therefore, let's appreciate when good is done, and where criticism is taken, we will accept it gracefully. I thank you, and I ask Council to approve the report.
Thank you, MMC Masuku. Member in charge, Councillor Rapadu.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me first applaud the committee members for their participation and the diligent work that they do. Madam Speaker, in this committee we are apolitical. Ours is to make sure that the city does indeed move forward. And all of us are united in making sure that we hold officials accountable, and we make sure that they deliver on their scorecards and KPIs that they're supposed to. So we are glad that at least this ship is starting to move in the right direction. The trajectory is shown in the statistics that have been quoted in this debate, and we hope that the work, the energy of committee members will continue to make sure that this department becomes the beacon of light that it seeks, or it should be, in making sure that the city works. So, Madam Speaker, I therefore move for the approval of this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rapadu. The recommendations are on pages 1.5, 2.6, 2.7, 3.5, and 4.8 are the items agreed to. Thank you.
We are now on item 5, and that's the performance assessment report for the Development Planning Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, read together with item 6, which is the performance assessment report for the Johannesburg Development Agency for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. Lastly, read with item 7, which is an oversight report of the Development Planning Section 79 Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter budget and performance assessment report of the Development Planning Department and Johannesburg Development Agency for the period January to March 2025.
Thank you, Secretary to Council. Member in charge, Councillor Cldr.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings, Speaker. I rise to table the performance oversight report of the Development Planning Section 79 Committee on the 2024-2025 third quarter performance reports of the Department of Development Planning and the Johannesburg Development Agency, JDA. Speaker, the department managed to achieve 11, which is 79% of the applicable 14 KPIs in quarter 3. We did have service delivery challenges that was noted during this quarter, which included the continued technical glitches experienced by CPMS, the poor storage space for records at the Metro Center building, the delays in procurement of service providers to undertake the demolition process, the 42% vacancy rate, which has affected operational efficiency, the financial performance by the end of quarter 3, and the annual capex budget was 92.1 million, and the expenditure was 52.14 million, which is 57%. OPEX expenditure incurred was 330.48 million, which is 65% against the targeted 511.62 million. The JDA achieved 16, which is 94% of the 17 due KPIs in quarter 3. By the end of the quarter, the entity had spent 662.6 million, which is 59% of the annual 1.2 billion capex budget. The JDA earned a total revenue of 106.5 million and incurred a total expenditure of 181 million. This resulted in an overall deficit of 74 million. Service delivery challenges during the third quarter, budgetary constraints, which often led to the late payment of service providers and work stoppages, the overall underperformance of contractors, the town planning bottlenecks, which prevent site handovers. But in essence, Speaker, the committee recommends that Council approve the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Member in Charge. Action SA, Councillor Neff.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to the House. All protocols observed. I rise on items 5, 6, and 7, speaking on the performance report for the Development Planning Department. Action SA notes with some concerns the performance report for the Development Planning Department for January to March quarter of 2025. One continued and still very concerning aspect is the continued neglect or lack of proper care for handling of the city's town planning documents like building plans and property files. Almost 2 years ago, it was highlighted that this is a very important concern, but these valuable documents still lay around and is sitting in an unsuitable building, slowly decaying to an unusable state, which means soon we won't have any records of what's being built or what's still there in our city. We really need to take better care of these documents. Another concern is the thinly staffed single law enforcement team. We certainly do need to get more of these valuable inspectors because these are the guys that go around and check that everything is compliant. We know we've got big problems with our informal spaza shops, and this is the crux of it. These guys know what to do, what should be done, and what should be there. Okay. They are an invaluable help to residents as well as the city, and we do hope that in the new budget that will grow this department. Action is in notes, item 7, 6, and 5. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Neff. DA, Councillor A. Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak on the Development Planning Core Department and JDA.
Can you speak into the mic, please, Councillor?
I rise to speak on the Development Planning Core Department and JDA quarterly report for the third quarter 24-25 financial year. This council sits during a prolonged period of financial struggle, characterized by unfunded budgets and cash flow problems. Naturally, the true state of the city's financial situation will only become suitably clear to us under a DA-led coalition in approximately a year to 18 months from now. In the meantime, we turn most of our attention to operational matters in the absence of sufficient capex. After all, it would be unfair to hold departments and entities accountable for budget adjustments and the slashing and sometimes outright withdrawal of capex funding. The gradual decline and mismanagement of the city's finances and its inability to effectively collect monies owed to it is an issue that must be placed firmly on the doorstep of the top dogs. And I'm referring to the city manager, the CFO, the COO, the mayor, and the MMC of finance. Given that our city and the current administration thinks that a plethora of different mayors since 2016 is something to celebrate, it becomes harder to hold individual politicians to account. Those providing the supposed continuity during that time, the CM, the COO, actually wait, how many of them have come and gone since then? With no one, it would seem, to hold accountable for our bigger picture woes, let us review the Department of Development Planning and JDA mainly from an operational perspective. After all, we would expect a professional civil service to compensate for poor capex funding through innovation and ensuring that they raise their game when it comes to day-to-day operational service delivery. First up is the core department. Let us just mention the ongoing issues that never change and are obviously thrown in our faces once again with the latest quarterly report. Number 1, not utilizing grant funding timelessly and/or complying with grant funding procedure. 2, woefully inaccurate reporting on urban inspector service delivery standards combined with bogus claims of actioning over 90% of reported building control complaints within 48 hours. Number 3, deliberately dragging their heels with regards to outdoor advertising bylaw. There was no justifiable reason to get a consultant to redraw a draft bylaw after a consultant had already done just that in the 2016 to 2021 term of office. 4, ditto for the outdoor advertising audit. The excuses provided for failed attempts and the obvious lack of desire to complete an audit defy belief. There is not a single adult or journalist in the city who does not know of the disgusting corruption that defines our outdoor advertising industry. Number 5, the department willfully refuses to report on outcome of court action in building control and urban inspection matters, and this naturally has a knock-on effect for tracking the ultimate imposition of rates penalties for illegal building. Fairly new to our list of ongoing issues is the state of our planning and building control records. This quarterly report, a few months in arrears, is claiming that steps are being taken to safeguard the records to find a more suitable place to store them. However, concerned former employees have sounded the alarm. As we speak, a petition is circulating in Johannesburg to raise awareness of the still unresolved issue of adequately protecting the department's planning records. How many records will be lost or destroyed before the department can scan and store over 10 million documents and files? Given the above list, can we as councillors and in particular members of Oversight Committee tell a story of committed civil servants, dedicated to service delivery in spite of trying financial times? Unfortunately, the lack of capital funding provides no distraction to the simple fact that the core department can be characterized by indifference, lack of applicable qualification, acumen, and most importantly, accountability. I sometimes feel a bit naive complaining about the sorry state of affairs when we and just about every adult in our city knows that nobody joins the city of Johannesburg to serve or to passionately learn about managing modern cities. People join the city to ride on the gravy train. Best case scenario, they want a permanent job from which they can never be fired from. Turning to the JDA, we see recurring issues again. Number 1, as a result of ongoing intercompany debt and non-payment by city departments, JDA has paid a whopping 60 million in overdraft interest this year to date. This is after budgeting to pay just under 8 million rand in overdraft interest. To be fair to the JDA, this is a problem that must be placed squarely at the feet of the CFO and the city manager. This is a problem that has remained unaddressed for 15 years. 2, JDA has been unable to pay approximately 38% of its supplier invoices within 30 days of receipt. The underlying issue here is cash flow and a lack of available capital budget to effectively service these standards and requirements. To the JDA's credit, they have demonstrated a desire to raise their game, and although progress has been slow, they must be given credit for addressing what has become a huge dilemma in the form of incompetent contractors failing to deliver. A new vetting process that pays more attention to a company's prior track record and financial soundness has been introduced. It is early days yet, but it would seem as though it is starting to reduce poor contractor performance. In addition, the JDA has complied with the committee's request for more comprehensive reporting on legal matters, something which the core department cannot do. Added to this, they have also demonstrated a willingness to implement consequence management for officials who have lost grant funding. Again, this is something which the core department will not do. Even though we are unable to sing the praises of the JDA without at least a healthy amount of unease, they certainly have been able to show up their core department. In the contest to see which collection of civil servants can focus on service delivery and produce operational improvements in a time of capital shortfall, the JDA certainly comes out a head and shoulders above their core department. The story of the core department is, to a large extent, the story of our city's trajectory. The decline is now at a point where we have little to focus on but operational performance. This focus forces us to confront the reality that our city is not staffed and run by people who care for its citizens, and are generally on the relentless pursuit for extra leave days. In fact, if being absent from work was a KPI, most staff members would earn top bonuses. Without the spare money to shop out to consultants and other freebie beneficiaries, we are left with a civil service unable to justify itself and the heavy price tag that all of those salaries amount to. My maths may be a little bit rough and ready, but I would like to propose a solution to our troubles. If we were able to let go of all city staff that were absent from work in the last year for 60 days or more, we would free up the funds needed to top up our capex budget and probably be able to service our debt much faster. Accountability is coming, though. Real change in a city the size of Joburg will be a prolonged and arduous campaign, which we as opposition members pledge to do with conviction. 2026 will be the beginning of the turnaround, and as much as there are other committed parties to the recovery, it is without the slightest fear of arrogance or exaggeration that I state the obvious. The roadmap to recovery can and only be led and steered by the Democratic Alliance. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. EFF, Councillor Moseta. Can we have less movement?
Madam Speaker, the Executive Mayor, MMCs, EFF Red Battalions, the GLU, fellow councillors, and the residents of Johannesburg. I stand before you today to make a contribution on the third quarter performance assessment report of the Development Planning Department and the JDA. We acknowledge that this report presents some positive developments which deserves to be commended. The department facilitated developments valued at over R500 million through provisional authorizations in terms of the NBR. This is not only a demonstration of regulatory efficiency, but a boost to local economic activity, jobs, and investment. The conclusion of the public participation process on the review of the 2018 land use scheme is a welcome step towards inclusive spatial development. Furthermore, the department spaza shop program is not yielding results, but getting there with 1,486 applications received since November 2024, and only 36 concluded and 29 approved. Despite these achievements, we must confront the facts without flinching. Out of 15 planned KPIs, only 14 were applicable for this quarter, and of those, 11 were achieved, amounting to 79% overall performance. While this is an improvement from the previous quarter, it still reflects missed targets that needs our attention. Consistency and improvement are commendable, but our goal must always be excellence and full delivery. We must also speak plainly about the persistent challenges that the department faces, some of which are recurring quarter after quarter. The issue of office accommodation is becoming chronic and damaging to service delivery. The temporary use of Bram Park away from Metro Center and other regional offices is not sustainable. It undermines staff morale, hampers coordination, and creates access issues for the public. Equally worrying is the matter of the CPMS building plan signing the hub, which suffered technical malfunctions. The most troubling of all is the situation involving the storage of departmental records at the condemned Metro Center. The fact that the staff continue to work from Metrolink and access files from building no longer fit for human occupation is not only unacceptable, it's a governance failure. It is unsafe, unethical, and borders negligence. I want to know, through you, Madam Speaker, who takes accountability for such blatant disregard of occupational safety standards. On the financial front, we note that the department collected 71.9 million by the end of this quarter, of the third quarter, which is 61% of the adjusted target. This performance is below expectation and driven largely by slow service charge collections and non-utilization of grant funds, once again, due to delayed procurement processes. While the department operated within... Yeah?
15.
Sorry?
15 seconds, 15 seconds.
Okay. Therefore, as the EFF, we demand stronger response from this department, from the city's leadership. We want urgent finality on the office accommodation and storage crisis. We must thank the leadership of MMC Mqina, Chairperson Khaldin, and the officials that we work with. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Masetla. The ANC, Councillor V. Tefu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to greet the Executive Mayor in his absentia and all the MMCs of the African National Congress, as well as our fellow councillors. I greet you. Madam Speaker, I rise on item 5, 6, and 7. The performance assessment report for the Development Planning Department for 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. The performance assessment report for the Johannesburg Development Agency for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. And item 7, oversight report of the Development Planning Section 79 Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter budget and performance assessment report for the Development Planning Department and the Johannesburg Development Agency, JDA, for the period January to March 2024. Madam Speaker, out of 16 KPIs, we note that one KPI had to be removed as it was no longer implementable due to legislative implications. This left the department with 15 KPIs, out of which one KPI is reported biannually, and it will be reported in the next quarter. We are satisfied, Madam Speaker, with the work of the department. However, we would like to express our concern with the third KPI, or otherwise the 3 KPIs that were not achieved, as we believe that more needs to be done for the department to strive towards achieving all its KPIs. If we were to use some biblical concepts, Madam Speaker, we would be encouraging the department's functionaries to follow the examples of a good shepherd who leaves all his 9 sheep that are safe in order to go and look for one lost sheep, as it gives him satisfaction and pleasure to have all his flocks home and safe. In some instances, such as KPI 2, capital budget project alignment to SDF exceeded annual targets, thus increasing the value and impact of the project. And that is welcome. Mitigation efforts by the department in regard to the issue of office operational space raises concern, as the Bram Park office complex are used as temporary office accommodating and remains unsustainable for operational efficiency to members of the public. We have great concern about the fact that the records of the city are still stored at the Metro Center, which was declared unsafe, and as a result had to be closed. The report only states that discussions to relocate the department to a building with office space and storage for records are underway. We are delighted that there are mitigation efforts which with to prevent a risk of losing vital records in the event of fire eruption at the Metro Center. In regard to capital budget, we note the delays to complete key projects due to the department being underfunded against its initial budget. The department has received 1,486 spaza shops consent application in November 2024. Our concern, therefore, is that out of 1,486 applications received, only 36 were concluded, resulting in 29 applications being approved. This defies the purpose for which this initiative was brought forth, which is to ensure that all goods and items sold in all spaza shops are safe for consumption by residents of Johannesburg. The snail pace at which this issue is being handled is not helping to prevent possible deaths as it has been experienced in our various townships due to non-compliance of spaza shops. To honor those who had lost their lives due to food poisoning, the department needs to accelerate the pace at which applications are processed and concluded in order to give bite and effect to the law so important. Madam Speaker, we also note the oversight on the Department of Development Planning, which highlights the completion of the following urban development frameworks: the Orange Farm Urban Development Framework, which includes the Moyane Drive, Link Road, and the new neighborhood spine, the Arts and Technology Center, Community Sanctuary, and the new recreational park in Drizik, and the Urban Agricultural Resilience Strategy. Progress on these projects were not provided for in the third quarter. The Klaptown UDF was approved by Council in the first quarter, and the detailed design will be completed with the available budget this financial year. And the Zandspruit Multipurpose Center project will include planning, detailed concept and designs, as well as construction over the next 3 financial years. The scope of work was revised and presented to the bid specification committee. Madam Speaker, we also welcome the achievements of 16 out of 17 KPIs in regard to the Johannesburg Development Agency, while noting that one KPI was not achieved due to the citywide cash flow challenges. As we are looking at the report, it is important to put our focus on the organizational scorecard performance as a measuring tool and yardstick for a clearer perspective. The completion of the Johannesburg City Library, which was opened on the 21st March 2024, is welcomed. We note that the entity has complied with the Municipal Financial Management Act and ensured that the entity has a business plan which was approved by Council in the beginning of 2024-25 financial year. We are concerned about the late payment of service providers due to cash flow limitations, as it has negative impact on SMMEs, thus leading to site stoppages as well as penalties. We welcome the work opportunities for 430 EPWPs, as it was reported on the third quarter, which exceeded the target of 400 EPWPs that the entity had initially set for that particular period. And as the ANC, Madam Speaker, we note the report. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Mgina.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Greetings to councillors in the chamber. Let me attempt to answer the questions as presented or concerns as presented by fellow councillors. I think I must indicate that councillors who have spoken, their issues are aligned, especially the issue around the non-payment of service providers, which is of course as a result of the financial situation that we're faced with in the city, which we are all aware of. It's also affecting our own KPIs in terms of achieving the KPIs on payments of service providers, as indicated, I think, by the last councillor, Councillor Tefu. Madam Speaker, I want to note all the concerns that fellow councillors have raised and commit that working together with our officials, we will correct or do our best to make sure that we achieve as required. I'm noting also the issue around the planning records that we are all aware of, and I was actually surprised at the petition that is going around. Councillor Stewart, I wasn't aware, but we all note that. I must also indicate that we're in a process of digitization or digitalizing the records that we have at planning, because we feel that it's quite important for us to make sure that all our documents at planning are secured. I must also gladly announce, Madam Speaker, that I think a week ago we allocated offices in Newtown. We now have new offices, I'm told, at Nedbank building. You can clap hands, Comrade, Councillor Shay. Yeah, so let's appreciate JPC, I think, for really rescuing us there. So I think we'll now have less challenges in terms of the record keeping of our residents. Madam Speaker, as I indicated earlier on, that I note all the concerns around the need to have more inspectors in our regions. I'm noting that, of course, and the issue that was raised on vacancy rate. We commit that all the vacancies that are actually funded, we'll make sure that they are all occupied, and it will also lessen the challenges that we're faced with in terms of manpower in our regions. Let me also appreciate councillors who have also encouraged us on improving in terms of the work that we're doing, and we want to thank officials for doing that, for improving on the work that they are doing as well. As well as on the issue of the spaza shops, Madam Speaker, I think we're working around the clock to make sure that we improve our approach on the issue of registering our spaza shops with the Department of Economic Development. And also we want to make sure, Madam Speaker, that we tap into the funding that the Minister launched some time ago, I think early this year in Soweto. We want to also make sure that our residents who are interested in that business of spaza shops also are assisted in getting their permits to run their spaza shops, but of